Do you think it could be too late? Because now they got to convince the same women that they empowered to give up their power to make something happen, to level out the power. You think that it might be too late, or?
The opening question to this video was posed by Ty City to this BGS panel. And first, I'd like to say on his behalf that the way he carried himself was, I think, was impeccable, especially for a young man in his, apparently he's in his 20s, I would imagine. He's probably younger than 30, I'm guessing. So he's a good 20 some odd years my junior, but I would like to say that the way he carried himself and his content, he's very clever. We can tell that he's a very sharp young man, and I'm just very pleased at the way he carried himself. But that said, he seems to have a bit of, I guess, trepidation, if you will, about how fast things will change. But if he has a chance to watch this video, I'd like to remind him that we have cultural norms now that we could not have foreseen in my high school days. So you can see, you know, even things like, you know, body positivity, or the way that what we see at the BET Awards, these are things that were just outside of the realm. Songs like these being shown on national television in primetime, we couldn't have imagined this a decade or two ago. Or how about couples like these that are openly on television being talked about as, you know, mainstream couples that are trying to start families? Or even the idea that now things like this are legal when we would have not even dreamt of this being the case in the 90s. These are all just examples of just how quickly things can change.
How old are you, ladies?
31, can you do something for me? Well, I'm 32. I'll be 33 at the end of this month, so.
Have you found that dating has become harder for you or easier?
Harder. Harder, 100%.
Why is that?
The dating pool is full of piss. Yeah, absolutely. You have more standards.
Would you prefer your man to make more or less?
I'll be honest, it doesn't really matter. I feel like it's, are you making my life a little bit easier? That part.
Like in a perfect world, how would you have it?
Like I said, as long as you're making my life a little bit easier in some sort of way. I come home and the house is already clean, dinner's already cooked. Cool, perfect. We balance each other out. You don't need to make more money than me.
So you're fine playing the traditionally masculine role while he plays the traditionally feminine one?
I feel like yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
When you hear these ladies talk about their relationship prospects, really, and they self-admit it, they say that they're looking for help, someone to quote unquote make their life a little easier. And what might they want to be eased from? Well, if you look at the consumer price index for all items, you see that this inflationary number in June of last year, it hit 9%. That means that pretty much everything that you're buying this year costs more than last year. But look at simple things like just food costs. You look at an inflation hit, wow, 13%. And that's food at home. If you want to do anything like go out and eat, let's say food away from home, you see that that number is at 8.6%. And so you see that's a huge change in not just the pricing, but the environment. So if you look at all items, you can see that there's been a pretty substantial change in the last year or two. It's just getting more difficult. And so as things get more difficult, you're going to see the environment change. And I'll let you hear it again so you can see what kind of help these ladies are looking for. They're not looking for hunk ultra alpha guy. They're looking for...
Would you prefer your man to make more or less?
I'll be honest, it doesn't really matter. I feel like it's, are you making my life a little bit easier? That part.
Like in a perfect world, how would you have it?
Like I said, as long as you're making my life a little bit easier in some sort of way.
The comments show just how the environment has changed and pretty much why she might be in this position to begin with. This woman is literally asking for less than bare minimum requirements in a man, and the men in the comments literally are saying she's asking too much. Isn't she becoming the man she don't want? What are you saying? She's asking for a wife. She wants to wear the pants. An original commenter again, like, how hard is it for y'all to cook a darn meal for your woman who earns more than you? Again, original commenter. So she should be asking more from a man? How is cooking a feminine trait? Don't you cook for yourself as an adult? And then the last comment, she has the right to ask for whatever you like. Don't mean you're gonna get it. She just said it's getting harder, not easier. And you can see that these young ladies are not necessarily looking for masculinity or looking for the alpha guy. They're looking for help, and help in any form. I would imagine that at this point, they're pretty desperate for help.
Yes, we're all chameleons. Yes, we all have that component in us, but it is a beautiful and necessary component when it is done according to God's purpose. The problem happens when a woman is operating outside of God's intended purpose. At that point, a woman being a chameleon can become destructive. She is uncovered, or essentially she's just kind of fending for herself. When a woman is operating according to that survival mechanism, her ability to be a chameleon can actually be destructive because at that point she doesn't have a firm foundation. She doesn't have any principles who are grounding her. And this is why, in my opinion, you can and you will see a woman one day being a swirler, 2 weeks later being pro-black, 3 weeks later being a lesbian, 4 weeks later being celibate, because at that point the woman isn't connected to anything.
You think that it might be too late, or
Man, these chicks don't like this shit no way. They ain't happy.
That's right. They're not.
see, that's why I disagree. I disagree with that.
Man, these chicks. Man,
Oh, there you go with the hoes is winning. Go ahead, Ty City.
Y'all already know, man.
Let me put it this way. Let me just put it this way. If they were perfectly fucking happy and satisfied, they wouldn't be doing the bitching they're doing. Because all they doing is bitching. They bitching. I can't find a nigga like this. Can't find a nigga like that. I can't do this. Can't do that.
They still won't get under the guidance of a good man. They still won't do it.
You cannot. It takes 50 years to get into this. It's going to take time to get out of it.
Are you making my life a little bit easier? That part.
Like in a perfect world, how would you have it?
Like I said, as long as you're making my life a little bit easier in some sort of way.
As more difficult times appear to be on the horizon, you're going to probably start seeing more changes in behavior. One of the things that motivates Passport Bros is that if you go to countries where times have traditionally been tough, then the behavior is less likely to change because it's more genuine. And of course, when times get more difficult in more affluent areas, you're going to see changes in behavior, but the question will remain, how genuine is the change? And so yes, many Passport Bros are looking to go overseas and find young ladies who may actually have some of these quote unquote chameleon tendencies. But the thing is, how close are those chameleon tendencies, if you will, to her true nature, or how much of it is just an act? Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.